What if the ground beneath your feet began to shake? Not just the way you've read about in news headlines when a magnitude 7 devastates a city or a magnitude 9 shifts the Earth's axis, but on a scale so unimaginable that it could literally tear the planet apart. The Richter scale, which we so casually reference, doesn't actually have a top limit. We tend to imagine it as going from 0 to 10, as if 10 were some final number, but the truth is that it's open-ended. A magnitude 9 earthquake is already enough to alter the length of our day by fractions of a second. Imagine, just one event, somewhere deep beneath the crust, is capable of changing the rhythm of the planet's rotation, something we normally think of as eternal and untouchable. Now pause for a moment and let yourself really feel that. The spinning of the Earth, the cycle of sunrise and sunset, the consistency we rely on to structure our lives. It's not as stable as we pretend. If magnitude 9 can already shift that, what would magnitude 10 look like? For that, you'd need a fault line stretching about 3,500 kilometers, nearly the distance across the continental United States. An earthquake like that wouldn't just level cities, it would alter continents, it would change maps, and still that wouldn't be the ceiling. A magnitude 11 would require a rupture circling half the planet. The shock waves would not only destroy what we know as civilization, they would redefine what it even means to live on Earth. Let's keep pushing. Imagine magnitude 15, a quake so powerful that the energy released would be 1,000,000 times greater than magnitude 11. That number is almost meaningless until you realize what it implies. The sheer force would be enough to evaporate all the water on Earth. Imagine standing on what was once the shore of the Pacific and seeing not waves, not tsunamis, but the complete disappearance of oceans themselves. No seas, no rivers, no lakes. Life as we know it would be gone in the silence of evaporated blue. The irony? You'd no longer have to fear tsunamis, because there would be no water left to move. But there is an even dark #GatMeta, yet the physical reality of our world does. The crust, the mantle, the core, they have boundaries. The Earth can only sustain ruptures of certain lengths. We can talk about magnitude 18 in theory, but in practice the planet would not survive long enough to experience it as an earthquake. What we'd be describing is not a quake, but the end of the Earth itself. So when people ask how high the magnitude of earthquakes could go, the truest answer is both infinite and limited. Infinite as a concept, limited by the body of the planet that contains it. Now think about what this reveals about our daily lives. We worry about traffic jams, deadlines, emails, yet we live on a fragile crust floating over molten rock, constantly shifting, colliding, and grinding. We assume stability, but stability is an illusion. Civilization is a thin layer spread across a restless sphere. A magnitude 7 reminds us with devastation. A magnitude 9 reminds us with awe. And the numbers beyond remind us of the truth we rarely face, that we are small, temporary guests on a planet with power far beyond our comprehension. The real lesson here isn't to fear the numbers. It's to recognize our fragility and our arrogance. We build skyscrapers and imagine permanence. We draw borders and imagine control. But one movement deep in the Earth can redraw all of it in seconds. So perhaps the wiser question isn't, how high could the magnitude go? But how deeply do we accept that we live at the mercy of forces beyond our control? Here is a challenge for the next 24 hours. Step outside, feel the ground beneath you, and let yourself acknowledge it. That soil you walk on isn't solid in the way you think. It's moving slowly, invisibly, with tectonic plates sliding over eons. Write down one thing you take for granted as stable and ask, if this were shaken, what would truly remain? Comment with a 1 if you believe our illusion of stability is fragile, and a 0 if you still believe permanence is real. Whichever side you choose, remember this. The Earth doesn't care about our scales, our fears, or our definitions.